Have you ever been in a situation where you knew a conversation needed to happen, but even the thought of it gave you that feeling in the pit of your stomach? That feeling of dread? Maybe you were worried that it would just go sideways, like all the other talks that you've had, or emotions would flare up and everybody would get heated. And then you can't help to think, what's the point of this? Nothing ever gets done anyway. Well, that's where today's book comes in. It's called Crucial Conversation, and it's one of the 25 books that have changed my life. This book is by Joseph Grenny, Carrie Patterson, Ron McMillan, Al Switzer, and Emily Gregory. That's a lot of different authors, and it contains a lot of great information. Now, one of the big ideas in Crucial Conversations is that the conversations we're most afraid of, those are the ones that often matter the most. The book teaches us that navigating these moments effectively is not about avoiding them, but it's about learning how to handle them with both skill and confidence. Now, for me, one of the most simple yet valuable insights was how the authors identified what makes up a crucial conversation. So many times I think we can be on the verge of entering one, but we don't even know the warning signs. And by the time we are realizing that we're already there, it's too late. So, what should you be looking for? Well, I want you to think about a crucial conversation as having three elements. That's what these authors outline for us very early on, that there are going to be three elements that we should be out on the lookout for. Actually, in this one, it's on page 4. So the three elements are number one, high stakes. High stakes. The outcome of these types of conversations are going to have significant consequences. Whether those consequences are personal or professional, there's going to be consequences. The second element is opposing opinions. The people involved in these conversations are going to have different perspectives, and those different opinions are what creates a lot of the tension in the moment. And the last element is strong emotions. These are feelings like fear, anger, frustration, anxiety. All of these can make a situation pretty complex. The book lays out how when these three elements are present, the conversation has the potential to either bring resolution or cause division. How we handle these moments determine which way the situation goes. Now, the reason I think this book had such a big impact on me is because I was reading it when I had a pretty intense situation arise, and it gave me the opportunity to not just know what to do, but to understand it by applying it. I'll give you the situation right now. A few years ago, I was in business and I noticed one of my employees' performance, well, it had been slipping and had been slipping pretty rapidly. And she was acting what I would say is probably very uncharacteristic of her because she was a high performer. And the tension started building with everybody on the team, especially those on the leadership team. And they were getting super frustrated at what was going on. We'd even gotten to the point where I thought, okay, I need to step in and I need to address this issue directly. Now, the stakes were high because the team's cohesion and morale were all on the line. At one point, the group of leaders even said, either she goes or we go, which made it clear that emotions were running strong in the moment. But instead of jumping in with assumptions or accusations, which I might have done in the past, I paused and I thought about what I had learned in this book, Crucial Conversations. And so here's what I did. I approached her with curiosity and I asked open-ended questions because what I wanted to do was I wanted to understand what was going on through her perspective. And I am so glad that I did. That's when I discovered that the real issue was her prescription had run out. And because of delays at a local hospital, here she was working through the pain because she didn't want to let the team down. She knew that all she needed to do was wait 2 more days and the situation would be resolved. She was struggling with something that was outside of her control. And no one else on the team even knew this was going on. But because we created something that these authors call the pool of shared meaning, which is where you bring together the facts and opinions and experiences of both sides, we were able to create open dialogue. And we ended up working out a short-term strategy that supported her in the meantime while we were waiting. And it was in that moment that she decided to share with the team what was going on. And you know what they did? They rallied around her. She bounced back, our team dynamic improved, and I learned a critical lesson. If I had not approached the conversation this way, if I had just walked in and let emotions run high, we could have lost a fantastic person on our team over something that was, quite frankly, completely fixable. This experience is what reinforced a lot of the lessons from this book for me. And I want to give you just a couple of them. The first one was curiosity builds connection. When you lead with questions instead of accusations, you invite dialogue, not defensiveness. That was one of the key things the authors talked about was how do we get to this place where we can have shared dialogue? Now, if you need a way to help you with this, there's a little framework that I use called the When I Invite. I'm not quite sure where I got it from. It's been in my notes a few years back, but I use it often. And what I do is I take the when and identify the situation. The I identify how I'm feeling about the moment to get to that shared pool of meaning. And the invite to their perspective. So when I invite is going to help us do that. Here's how I'd use it. I'd say, John, when you're consistently late to work, I feel like you don't care about the team. I feel like you certainly don't care about Mary, who's waiting to go pick her son up until you get here and it's causing her to be late. Can you tell me what's going on? Do you hear the invite right there at the end? When, situation, I, feeling in the impact that's going on, invite. Let them share what's going on from their point of view. Now, sometimes it's going to be something valid and it's something you can work through, and sometimes it'll just be an excuse, but this at least gets all the dialogue on the table. Now, the second lesson that I learned was that emotions don't have to derail the conversation. By creating a safe environment, you can address the root of the issues without letting your emotions take over. Remember, it's the situation that you have an issue with, not the person. So keeping that in front of you is going to help you stay on topic and not get emotionally hijacked. And then the final lesson for me was reinforced in learning that the goal is understanding, not winning. The goal is in understanding, not winning. Resolving conflict isn't about proving who's right. It's about finding a way forward together. So sometimes you have to set your ego aside. It's not about being right. So who's this book for? Well, if you've ever felt stuck because you're avoiding crucial conversations or you're worried about the fallout from them, this book's going to give you a roadmap on how to handle these with skill. Because I want you to remember, it's not about removing conflict. It's about turning it into an opportunity for things like growth and trust and understanding. But thanks for joining me today. I hope this book changes your approach to conversations just like it did mine. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we discuss the next book that changed my life. I'll see you then.